Aloha, this is Netra's News, and I'm Netra Halperin. I'm very excited to have in my studio here with me today Laura Van Wagner, and she's a extraordinary teacher of energy and intuition.
Oh, thank you. It's wonderful to be here, Netra.
So I also want to talk about my sponsor, Three's Bar and Grill, and they're over in Kihei, Kalama Villages. They have delicious food, Southwestern, Pacific Rim, Hawaiian, so absolutely go check them out. And so, Laura, I want to show a video to the audience, but tell me just a brief thing about like how long you've been doing teaching classes and what brought you into it.
Well, what brought me into it is I went and I had a clairvoyant reading, and they said that I had some of my mother's energy in my space, and if I would like to have it removed.
Oh, and were they able to remove it?
Yes, they just grounded it out with, they grounded it out. And I noticed by doing that, that some of the thoughts that I was thinking were really not mine.
How bizarre.
Yeah.
So there's a video that I wanted to show about energy. And so that'll show in a minute. And so you were able to get your. See, I think people don't realize that we think, okay, I'm my own person, but we keep, especially our parents. You know, we keep our parents' thoughts and opinions of us, and of course, it's valuable to love and cherish and be connected to our parents. But we also need to live our own lives.
That's right. That's right.
And so that was able to help you do that.
Yes, that was able, yes, it helped me because some of my decisions I was making, I wasn't happy with them, but I thought I really wanted to pursue them. And when that energy was removed, I realized it was just my mother's dreams. It was my mother's dreams, they weren't mine. And when you're trying to pursue someone else's dreams, they never work.
Right.
Because they're not your own.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm absolutely that way. If I'm doing something because I'm interested in it, I work really hard and I get it done. And if I'm doing it because somebody else wants me to do it, I kind of have to like force myself to do it.
There's no joy in it.
There's no joy.
It's work. Yeah.
Exactly.
When you're following your own dreams, then you love doing what you're doing.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. So You had this. You went and had this reading, and they said that your mother's energy was in your space. Okay, so we're gonna watch. Hold on a second. Hold that thought. We're gonna be watching a video now about energy and science, a scientific version of how energy is.
Time, space, and matter. Matter seems like a good place to begin. The solidity of the world seems totally indisputable.
David, can you turn up the volume?
As a fixed thing that you can see and touch, your body is also reassuringly solid. But beginning with Einstein, modern physics has assured us that this solidity is a mirage. After all, the body is made up of atoms. These atoms are particles that are whirling at lightning speeds around huge empty spaces. And the particles aren't material objects. They are fluctuations of energy and information in a huge void of energy and information. If you could see the body as it really is, you'd see that 99.9999% of it is mostly empty space. And the 0.00001% of it, which you see as matter, is also empty space. The matter is just an illusion, an artifact of our perceptual experiences. As you sift through this very solid-looking material body, you only have to go so far before you end up with a handful of nothing. This is a scientific fact. The question is, what is this nothingness? What is this empty space that makes up everything in existence? Because it's very clear that the basic raw material of the universe is that it's not material. The essential stuff of the universe is non-stuff. Because an atom, which is the basic unit of matter, is not really a solid entity. It's a void. But is this void an emptiness? Or could it be the womb of creation itself? Could it be the source of life itself? Is this non-stuff, non-matter that makes up the entire universe just emptiness? Or is it thinking non-stuff, thinking non-matter, that curves back within its own self and creates everything in existence, from matter to energy to time to space? As you dissect through the body, the various layers of organs, tissues, cells, molecules, and atoms peel away until at the subatomic realm, all that remains are bundles of energy vibrations. The nerve receptors in the body are switching stations that can take energy vibrations and turn them into touch, sight, sound, and so on.
Okay, that was very fascinating. So what is your reaction to that? How can we bring that information into our lives?
Well, when they're talking about the non-stuff, that when it goes in on itself, it creates, and that is thoughts. It's just like before we create anything, we have to have a thought, and thoughts are very powerful. And they influence everything. It's just like prayer is like concentrated thoughts.
Right.
Yes.
And usually, hopefully, it's for the good.
Yes.
For positive.
Hopefully. But actually, every thought we have is a prayer. Every
Right.
thought influences every thought. So it's important to try to have positive thoughts. But we can't always be positive. We're human. And it's good to watch your thoughts and try to monitor them. But if you have a negative thought, you just have to let it go. You don't say, oh my God, I'm having a negative thought.
You don't beat yourself up, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. You just let it go. But if you have a reoccurring thought, then, and if you can't heal it, or make it, like if you're angry and you're continually angry, and no matter what you do, the anger is still there, that usually means it's not your thought. It's just
interesting.
So an example of that would be like if, say, you're talking to someone and you feel like you don't like them, right? And then you walk away and you go, why didn't I like that person? And in actuality, maybe that person just didn't like you. And when they were thinking their thoughts, it kind of came into your space and you took it as your own.
Interesting.
So, and to learn how to tell between your thoughts and other people's thoughts, because this happens all the time. And yeah, so it could be a positive thought or a negative thought or like that.
What about unconscious thoughts? Because, okay, my field is psychology, and I know that many things like I'm not good enough, I'll never succeed, nobody likes me, I'm not attractive, all these things. We have these thoughts, but we're not necessarily thinking them in a conscious way, but they were maybe, inculcated into us when we were children. And so we self-perpetuate them, and then we behave in a certain way, and then it comes back, and then you're reinforced, oh yeah, I guess it's true.
Yeah, well, that, most people, if you kind of think, what do you feel about yourself? Do you feel like you're intelligent? Do you feel, wherever you feel not good or whatever? And then think about, well, what do my parents think about me? And usually, if your parents are really positive and you've had that all your life their positive thoughts, then you have a tendency to be more positive. But if they're always thinking negative thoughts, you know, but I'm not going to just blame it on parents.
No,
it's not just
no,
parents,
no.
you know, but it has to, because you can have an experience when you learn how to work with energy. Negative thoughts can come, and you just can let them go, and they won't affect you.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things I teach is grounding and how to work with that energy so that it no longer affects you.
Wait, hold that thought. We have a video of Laura meditating in her on her patio, on her lanai, with some birds. So let's look at the video.
This is the view from where I sit every morning and do my morning meditation, and my bird friends come to visit. This is Molly. Hi, Molly. She comes every morning and visits me, and she usually brings her partner, Max, but he's not here today, so I just put a little birdseed in my hand, and then I sit and meditate. And I release unwanted energies, thoughts, and this creates more room for positive thoughts and more room to create magic and miracles in your life, and opening you up to your intuition. I let Max and Molly just eat. I'll put some food here, and then I just close my eyes, take a deep breath, settle in, and just reclaim my space, my own energies. And then when I do this for about 30 minutes every morning, and it makes your day go so much more smoothly. Everything seems to just flow along much more easily. You're able to get things done more quickly, and it really affects your relationships with other people, because if you don't have all that pain and stress in your body, it makes it easier for you to communicate to other people.
Okay, so there's Laura in her home meditating. So
Yes, my home environment.
yes, your home environment. And well, what is your connection with animals?
With animals, well, I love animals, and when you were talking about the subconscious, actually becoming intuitive is just becoming more aware of your subconscious. And I just started talking to the birds, and one day, and when I talked to them, I never waited for them to respond. And one day, I was talking to, I asked the bird, I said, "What do you want?" And the bird said, "Birdseed." I go, "What?" And showed me a picture of birdseed.
Oh, you just, in your mind, you saw birdseed.
Yeah, I saw the birdseed, and I go, "Whoa." I go, and if I wasn't paying attention, I wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah.
But I bought the seed.
Yeah.
Because neighbors were feeding, so they knew what birdseed was, and so they started eating out of my hand. So it was.
It's very, very sweet. So how has being intuitive affected your life? How has it helped you in your own personal life?
Oh, in many ways, many ways. It affects your relationships. Being intuitive is you're more aware of what's going on in your environment. You're more aware of people's thoughts and feelings, and so you're more able to understand where people are coming from. And as a reader, I can read someone and go to the root of whatever their problem is in one session, rather than being a year in therapy.
Right,
you know, you
right.
can see, you can just go right to where that point is and then start from there. And it's faster and less painful.
Right.
Costs a lot less too.
Yes, that's true. Not a lot of sessions. So would you say, like, how, you know, some people are musically gifted, some
Yes.
people are athletes, some people are very intelligent, some people are you know, very gracious and good at, you know, being welcoming and hosting and partying. So would you say that intuition is something that we all have, and some people are just more gifted, and it's something you can develop?
Everyone has intuition, and it's just like a muscle. So the more you exercise it, the more the stronger it becomes, and the more you can use it, yeah. So everyone has it. The more developed it is, of course, the more intuitive you are. So. Right.
And you've told me about a personal experience regarding health.
Oh, yes. Let's see, when was that? In 2001, I was diagnosed with B-cell lymphoma. And so I used my intuition to decide what my treatment would be. And I used my intuition when I went to see the doctor. I was very aware. And I saw that the doctor hated cancer so much and wanted so much to destroy it that I would have died in the process.
Wow.
So I knew I couldn't do that, but then I had to find another way. And so I kept on asking my intuition. I kept on praying and asking, what should I do? And I kept on, you know, everybody offers you advice, you know, whether it's wheatgrass or acupuncture or herbs. You hear, I mean, I had a stack of information like this, and I looked at everything, and I saw that they were all good, and they have helped many people, but I also saw it wasn't going to work for me.
Because everybody's different.
Yeah,
every situation is different.
Right, exactly. And like a lot of people, chemotherapy is wonderful for them, and they do great with it, but it wasn't for me. So I kept on praying, and a friend, I was living in Colorado at the time, a friend kept on calling me and saying, come to Maui. If you come to Maui, you'll get well. And she was kind of really pushy and domineering. And so at one point, I almost...
Wait, excuse me. This is a call-in show. And if you would like to call in, if you have any questions or comments or anything you'd like to say to Laura, you can call us in at 873-3430. So I'm just letting the audience know that they can call in. So sorry, go ahead.
Okay, where was I? Okay, so finally...
She was pushy, your friend was pushy.
Oh, yeah, she was pushy. So finally she said to me, well, Laura, use your intuition. And I hadn't done that because I was in so much resistance. So I looked and I saw this beautiful yellow rose, and that to me was a symbol that, because that's the best thing I'd seen so far, a symbol that if I came to Maui that I would get well. So I had been divorced from my husband, and he still lived here. So I called him up and I said I needed to come to Maui to heal, and I said, but I'm just coming to heal, and then when I get well, I'm leaving.
Right. Don't get attached.
Don't get attached. And he said, I'd rather know that you were alive somewhere.
Yeah. Because he truly loved you.
Okay, sorry. It's so long ago, but it's still getting emotional. So anyway, I came back and I started working with a hypnotherapist and a shaman, and I meditated 7 times a day, and with my thoughts, I decided I was going to heal, and there was no question. It was just, I knew I was going to get well.
Yeah,
it's just like when you go in the restaurant, you put in your order, it comes, you know. It was just like that.
Yeah.
And so I called in the angels, and I called in Jesus, and I asked for a miracle healing, and then I would do my meditation, and to transmute and transform all the DNA into healthy cells. And so at first, you know, because it was very visible, because I had a huge lump on my throat, and my throat was on my neck, and my throat was almost closed up, and I had to sleep a certain way or I couldn't breathe. And so at first, you know, there was a little bit of change, but then after 2 weeks, the lumps started getting smaller, and and I remember one day I said to my husband, I said, I don't have cancer anymore. And he goes, well, what's that lump on your throat,
Right.
on your neck?
Kind of looks like
What's
cancer
that?
to me.
He goes, yeah. I go, it's gone. It's just reabsorbing into my system.
Yeah.
And so within 6 weeks,
It
was like, except for this much,
Yeah.
it was just a little pea.
Yeah.
And so I went back to the doctors because I trusted, I wanted to get it checked out.
Right.
And he goes, this is highly unusual. And I go, well, what's the chances of this happening? He goes, like, I've never seen it happen with this kind of cancer before.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like I'm finding a needle in a haystack. So then he said, of course, because there's still a little tiny thing, he said, but I suggest that you do chemotherapy. I go, well, you know, what I was doing was working, so
So no need to
do that, yeah. But it takes a team to work. You don't ever
Exactly.
try to do that on your own. You need to have a team
Exactly.
working with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And have the safety of that around you.
It's very involved in it. You know, it changes. The one thing, we bring illness in our life, it's actually the healing. It's when you get cancer, I know this sounds strange, but cancer is the healing. It's when you start to heal, because when you get cancer or some serious illness, it changes your whole life and you move into a different direction. And when you get off course, illness will put you back on track.
It'll remind you.
Yeah, it'll remind you. So, yeah.
Okay, so now Laura did a class with some young people, and so we're going to watch her class with a kids class on energy and intuition now.
So when we talk about energy, there's all forms of energy, and everything is made out of energy. So the earth is made out of energy. Things that, you know, you could see, like the earth or the chair you're sitting on. It's all formed of energy, but it's something you can see. But there's other forms of energy that is around that you can't see, like electricity. We all know that there's electricity, don't we? But you can't see electricity. Or radio waves. There's radio waves everywhere. They're all around us, but we can't see them. But we still know they exist. And then, let's see, what other waves? Can you think of other kind of waves? Sound waves? Oh, heat waves. Heat waves. You can't really see heat waves, but they exist. And so there are forms of energy that exist that we can't see. And there's another form, and it's thoughts. So when we have a thought, it's a form of energy, and it has an effect. Now we're going to do a demo on thought energy. Let's just close our eyes. And then I want you to visualize that you have this nice lemon. A lemon in your hands, just a lemon wedge. And you take that lemon wedge and you take a big bite of it in your mouth. Okay, I see your face is all squinting up. Okay, so open your eyes. You can open your eyes. What happened when you thought about the lemon?
My tongue started tingling.
Ah.
I could feel my jaws and my face start to tense up because you know it's going to be so sour.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was going to eat a lemon and it felt really sour and my tongue and my jaw started tingling.
Mm-hmm. So you can see just your thoughts can actually influence your body. You can influence your health. It can influence your energy just by how you're thinking.
And actually, I wanted to ask the girls, we were talking earlier about intuition and about knowing things in other ways besides, you know, hearing, seeing, or reading. So can you tell us?
You can have different intuitions with people, sports, and you just trust your gut feeling.
So trust your gut feeling.
My Auntie Ann told me a story that her friends, they were going to go to a lake the next morning to go boating, and she, it was kind of like when she was going to bed, her husband would ask her, what lake would you like to go to tomorrow? And she was like, I want to go to Mono Lake, and it was really far from where they live. But the husband was like, well, that's really far. Are you sure you want to go there? But she was like, no, I want to go to Mono Lake. And so they went, and then it ended up that this other family was there, and their boat was like messed up. And when the dad went to, the daughter was in the water behind the boat, and when the dad went to turn the boat on to go forward, he went backwards, and the girl's leg got caught in the motor. And then so since they were there was nobody else on the lake except for the couple and the boat that the accident happened. So if they weren't there, you know, something worse, like she maybe couldn't have survived. So they went up and they called for help. So that was kind of she told me a story of that.
And I think that's absolutely intuition, that you just had a sense that your aunt had a sense that would be something. Yeah. She just wanted to do it, and even when her husband said, that's really far, she's like, no, I want to do it, because something in her knew that she was supposed to be there.
She said she heard not voices, but thoughts that, like, saying that you should go to Mono Lake, you know, thoughts from her mind. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
And she trusted that gut feeling, and it was good because that helped. It helped that family, helped that girl.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a very fun class to be in. Thank you for teaching that to us.
I enjoyed it very much.
And thank you to our youth correspondents. Mm-hmm. So, Laura, tell me, what are the different types of intuition that we can have?
Oh, yeah, people have stronger intuition in different ways. Some people, like me, my intuition, I just know something. I just know. And then other people can see. They have their clairvoyance. Knowing comes from the crown chakra, and clairvoyance comes right from
the crown chakra and then the sixth
chakra. And then other people, they just feel things. They feel, you walk in the room and you can feel emotions, and that's from, the gut kind of.
The gut,
yeah. So there's many different ways, and then you can, there's hearing. Some people hear voices, and they're not really crazy always.
Not schizophrenia. We're not talking about schizophrenia. That's
no.
schizophrenia.
Yeah.
This is different.
There's clairaudience, and then you can also sense things. People sense things with their hands. So you can. There's many ways. What I teach is clairvoyance, seeing, and using your third eye, and also I teach grounding, which helps you to release any unwanted energy, and other tools. And also when we were talking about thoughts, knowing your thoughts from other people's thoughts, I teach little tools, little tricks on knowing when it's your energy and when it's someone else's, so that you can tell the truth from a lie.
Okay.
Yeah. And when you have a lot of other people's energy in your space, then what happens is you can't make decisions. Should I do this or should I do that? Or, it's much harder to make decisions.
And it's interesting, like sometimes when something in my life doesn't go well, or I think, okay, I meet somebody and something doesn't happen, I think, did I know that intuitively beforehand? Was there signs that I was ignoring? And I think that's the key, and I think that is kind of something that our society isn't really supporting yet. I mean, it's more supporting that, but that our gut feeling, actually, we do know a lot.
Yeah, our body can tell us a lot when we're talking to someone, or we come in an environment. If our body tenses up, or you feel kind of sick or whatever, you should listen to your body. I used to try to talk myself out of it. I'd be around someone and they wouldn't make me, I wouldn't feel right. And I go, well, it's just me, what's wrong with me? Why am I doing that? And then I found out it wasn't just me, it wasn't, it was my intuition. So you have to learn to listen to it,
And sometimes it's also about opening our hearts to people. Like
Yes.
sometimes someone's just different than us or not what we're familiar with. And so you just kind of have to, you know, breathe a little bit, go more into our hearts, and then understand, okay, what I always do is I kind of try to put myself in their shoes. Like
Yes.
I kind of put myself behind their eyes and see, how are they seeing this? What is their perspective on this situation or on me or whatever? And then I have more compassion for them that they may be acting what seems to me strange, but actually from their perspective, it's totally appropriate. So we have another video, a woman on the street. This time Laura was behind the camera. I was in front. We take turns here. Community television, and Netra's News. So anyway, so this is at Cam 3, and Laura and I went there. We hit the streets and decided, let's ask the people. What do people think about intuition? Aloha. I'm Netra Halperin for Netra's News, and we're here at Cam 3. And I am chatting here with Laura Rydell.
Aloha.
Aloha. And we're going to talk about intuition. So Laura, what have been your experiences with intuition?
One of my greatest experience with intuition was I was 16 and I had my car. I was teaching my friend how to drive a vehicle. We were pulling into a beach park and we pulled up next to a car. And I said, oh, we don't want to sit next to this guy. He's sitting in his car. Who knows what he's doing? So I told her to go ahead and back out and park in another spot. And she backed out, pulled into the next 3 spots over, and as soon as she began to enter the parking stall, I had this overwhelming feeling that we were going to hit the tree in front of us. And sure enough, she applied the gas instead of the brakes, and we smacked into the smacked into the tree. And it was a very interesting experience because for the 2 seconds I had that overwhelming feeling that something was going to happen.
And up until that moment, nothing had happened.
And nothing had happened. It was approximately 2 split seconds before we actually hit the tree, and I didn't have enough time to actually vocalize the fact that I thought we were going to hit the tree.
Right. So this has helped you since then in your life.
Yeah. Maybe not as strong. I think that was the strongest experience, but it's definitely allowed me to listen and hear what was my body was being told. That there's something, something else out there, that helps us. It's not just our small perspective.
Exactly. That you were connected to bigger than just our own body, our own self. Right. We're connected to something bigger.
Energy in the universe.
Well, I do believe in intuition. I think you have to listen to that inner voice always.
So how do you hear the inner voice?
You sit quietly. It's a gut feeling. I really do believe in it, especially with my kids. And when you don't listen to it, you pay. You need to quietly listen to that inner voice that tells you what to do. I'm a firm believer.
And can we ask your kids what their view on that is?
Sure.
Sure. Oh, we can be on it too. I don't know. I guess she does call us sometimes when we need her, or she knows what we need because she listens to them. So I believe in it too.
So she'll just phone you. You'll be somewhere doing something, and you're like, and then mom's on the line.
Mom's on
so
the line,
there she is.
Or our instinct would be to call her too, or our intuition, like, oh, we should call mom. She probably wants to hear from us right now.
And how about you?
She can usually tell when I'm up to no good.
So, Laura, we were talking before the video about relationships with people. And how can you use intuition to have more harmonious, more clear, just better relationships with people?
More open-hearted relationships.
Open-hearted,
I think you were
exactly. I was talking about open-hearted, yes.
Okay, so everyone, we're all spirit in a body. We're not this body, but we're spirit, and we're all equal. You know, there's no one any farther away from the center of the circle. And to see beyond people's dysfunctions and know that that is there inside. It's like countries are like different organs in the body. And then the people in each country are like the cells. So you're just another cell in my body. And so when I think like that, how can I be mean to you, or how can I do anything, you know? And the way to do that is find neutrality with your intuition in the sixth chakra. That is a place where you can be neutral.
Right.
Like when you're using your intuition from your second chakra, it's emotion and
right, that's right here in our belly.
Yeah,
the emotion.
That's not neutral, and you can have some negative, you know, response. Like if you hear somebody did something wrong, you could get, you know, throw judgment energy at them. And so by using your clairvoyance, it's a neutral space. It's neutral. So using your clairvoyance and connect it to your heart so you have compassion.
Exactly.
And with your crown, you have your connection with God, with your knowing. And it gives you great wisdom and compassion for people, and able to accept people wherever they're at.
Right. And one way that I like to look at it is empathy. That if I know that if my heart is open and I can feel you, I'm not going to hurt you, because I'm going to know that's going to hurt me, because we're all connected. And that's actually one of the things I say regarding education. If we taught critical thinking, and that's more, it's something I talk about in other shows, but empathy. And you don't have to teach it. You do little exercises, and people start. Actually, I talked about it on the radio the other day. Is the ropes course, which is basically exercises that you do that build team together and connect people, because we really are connected. And you know, that's so. Mostly, it's totally evident in the economy. People don't get that it's not even just esoteric, just economically, we are all connected.
Yes, we are.
And that's just the most, money is very concrete. You know, you can feel it, you can see it, and it's just kind of a way of showing how we are all connected actually in other ways.
Yeah, and we're connected, but we have our own integrity, our own. It's just like we're not a melting pot. We don't want to just, you know, like if we have 6 cans of different brilliant colored paints, on their own they're beautiful, but if you dump them all together in one pot, it's a mess. So it's good, that's why it's good to separate, you know, your thoughts from other people's thoughts, because when other people's energy is in your space, it pushes yours out, your energy out. And other people's energy, it's not good or bad, it's just foreign energy in your space, and it doesn't belong there. So.
And I really liked how you put it, that the paints in their own little pots are beautiful, but melding there, and in psychology we call that boundaries.
Yes.
You know, you want to have healthy boundaries. You want to have permeable boundaries, so you let other people in and out. But you know, you have, this is what I feel, this is what I think, this is what I know, and then you listen. You're open, but not just kind of.
And this is with parenting. Sometimes the parents, they have trouble with their children because they're so much want to help them, or they're so much in their space that it's like the kid is, you know, they're like this, and the kid's going, help, you know.
They can't even feel it,
and so then the kids start to rebel.
Yeah.
So, and I've seen experiences where the mothers who are having trouble with their children just every morning sit down, pull all their energy back out of their children's space, I do the same thing with mine too. And it really improves your relationship because it gives them space to be who they are and they don't feel like they're being suffocated.
That's a very good parenting advice. So we now are going to go into another realm, which is life near death. And so there's a gentleman, a very wonderful man named Thomas Silva. And he gave me the opportunity to hear his story out at Palawea Beach. Here we are doing Women on the Street, or beach in this case, and we're here with Thomas Silva, and he's a security guard at Palawea Beach in McKenna, also known as White Rock Beach. So Thomas, you said you've enjoyed working here. So what do you enjoy about working here at White Rock Beach?
Well, as you can see, it's just the beauty of it all. The sunset on the weekend. This is a part-time job for me, so I enjoy the serenity of it all. The sunset, and then the stars at night is so beautiful out here because there's no light out here, so you can practically count all the stars. I mean, there's just stars above stars, and in this job that was a blessing, actually, that I believe that, well, that came from God, to tell you the truth. It's something that happened to me a long time ago, say about five years ago. Well, I had a massive heart attack at a person's house that I was doing the drywall work, and I remember they calling the ambulance, working on me in the ambulance, and taking me to the hospital. And the last thing I remember where they're cutting open my t-shirt, and after that it's like somebody just pulled a plug out on me. It's like pew, and next thing I know, I'm looking down at my body, and I'm watching everything going around me. The doctors, they're working on somebody, and I'm like, what's going on? And there I was, lying there on the table, but yet I was above the ceiling looking down. And the next thing I knew, I turned around and I looked, and everything was so dark, and I looked at my hands and I couldn't even see my hands. Turned back and tried to make up what they was trying to say, and next thing I remember I was being drawn through the roof. And as it's like a camera, if you pull away a shot, it gets distance. And it started fading away, and then I turned, and there I was, like this, in the darkness, and far off was a light. The light was, like a star, kind of. And I started floating to this light, and the light started getting bigger and brighter and bigger and brighter. And the light, if you ever hold a crystal into the sunlight and the sun hits that crystal, it's that brilliant white light, like a prism. It just circles around you. And the next thing I know, I was in this light, and the light was all around me, and there's such a sense of peace, calmness, joy, no pain, no hunger. It's a feeling that you cannot explain. It's something that happens only once in your lifetime. And as I was in the light, I remember hearing this voice, and the voice told me to go back, tell them who I am. Something waits for you on the other end. And then next thing I know, I'm looking up, and I'm like, wow, what happened? Was this a dream? And I looked, and I seen the doctor in the back, and then I turned again, and where am I? I was kind of wondering, and finally the doctor, he turned, and he looked at me, and he got startled. He goes, sir, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, what happened? And he goes, well, sir, tell you the truth, I was writing the death certificate on you because, you were gone, and, and I heard the machine goes off after I shut it all down, and now, I'll have to call people to come back, and I was like, whoa. Well, 2 weeks after that, that's where it gets better. The house that I was working on, the lady was not my wife. Oh, okay. Yes, and on Christmas Day, she told me that Merry Christmas, and I have a present for you. And I was like, okay, is it an aloha shirt like every Hawaiian needs? And she said, no, and she goes, I'm having a child a child. Wow, it's your child. And I was thinking back, whoa, that was the thing that he told me something would wait for me. Because I've worked construction all my life, 7 days. I've worked every island. You know, I had a family a while ago, and, 14 years ago I've been, well, actually, it's been more than 14 years, 17 years now. But prior to that, I was single because I lost my family working construction all my life. So I didn't get to see them. I thought my job as a man was to just work hard all my life, and so I believe the Lord has given me a second chance with this child.
Okay, so that's
wow.
quite an story.
That's quite a story. Yeah, I guess, a lot of people, they have had the same death experiences of going to the light. It's beautiful, beautiful experience, and it's nice that there are people that are talking about it and sharing it, so that other people know, that it's not this body. Our body is like a car. When we're driving, our spirit is like we're driving in the car, and when the car wears out, we get a new one. And so, but sometimes you think you're going to get a new one, and you come back.
And also not to be afraid.
Yeah, not to be afraid.
I think that's the other thing,
yes.
not to be afraid. That I've heard instead of we're a body having a spiritual experience, we're a spiritual being having a bodily experience.
That's right. That's right. That's a good point. Yeah. So
what about death? I mean,
well, I almost died 3 times, and I feel like, when you get sick, there are lessons. When you're going in the wrong direction in your life, sometimes you'll get sick. It's like a wake-up call to turn you in a different direction. So the first time I got cancer, I healed it within 6 weeks. It was easy. But then I hadn't learned my lesson yet, and I got it again. And then I almost died from some surgery I had on my neck. And then I almost died a 3rd time, and I was on life supports in the hospital. I had multiple organ failure. I had a perforated intestine. And so I did, and I was in a coma for 6 weeks. I think it was 6 weeks. Of course, I don't know, I wasn't there. Something, 6 weeks, I think it was, or 3 weeks, anyway.
I was supposed to say we could ask your husband. People don't know. Her husband and her are definitely very married now. Yes. So they got through it, and he was happy that she survived, and then you decided to go back to being married.
Yes, we went back to being, we remarried, yes. We're very happy. It's like our first marriage, it's like we're more in love than we ever were when we first got married. It's just something that grew, but anyway, I wanted to talk about being unconscious. I wasn't one. It was like being dead, and people ask me, "Do I remember?" And I go, "I don't remember what happened, but when I came back, I was a different person. Yeah. I had so much more knowledge than before."
Interesting.
So.
And more gratitude, probably.
Oh, more gratitude, yes. It's like when I came to and finally got out of the hospital, it's like every day I wanted to celebrate my birthday. I was so grateful for just breathing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Okay, so we have a caller. So let's hear from the caller.
Hi. Aloha.
Aloha.
Let me try to turn that down a little bit. Yeah, this is Valentine.
Hi, Alan. Thanks for calling.
No, Valentine.
Valentine.
Oh, Valentine. Hi, Valentine. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, hi. What was your question? What were you talking about in spiritual matters when you're dead?
What was I talking about when I was dead? I wasn't dead. I was in a coma. I'm not quite sure the question.
No, you're talking about near-death experience.
Yes.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So, what did you experience? Because I've been in the healing field for 35 years.
Yes.
and I was born with a gift of sight.
Uh-huh.
And I experienced many things, what you're talking about, but in another way.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened to you after you opened up to this near-death experience? You know, did you feel your gifts opened up more?
You know, the biggest thing I noticed is that before I was never happy where I was. I always thought I had to be somewhere else doing something else, or it was just this turmoil inside. And when I came back, I was happy just where I was. I was all of a sudden, I knew I was in the perfect place, always. And so it was such a peace that came over me. So.
That's beautiful.
Well, okay, thank you, Valentine. Thanks for calling.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
And aloha.
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 I think I met him somewhere.
Probably, yes. So anyway, so what did you want to continue with that, or about the peace?
Yeah, the peace.
About death, about coming back in great gratitude
and gratitude, and it put my life in a total different perspective. The things that I thought were important, weren't important. It's like, don't sweat the small stuff, you know.
Exactly.
You know, all of a sudden the things that I thought were important, I go, why was I so worried about?
Yeah.
About that. Yeah.
Or even just all the little things we worry about,
Yeah.
and then we realize, like, who cares?
Yeah, and we put all this energy into it, and then when you free up from that, you have so much more energy for other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, for other things in your life. And that also I didn't talk about before. I was talking about emotions and anger, and at one point I went into this thing where I was feeling a lot of rage, and I kept on praying to God for it to release. I mean, I prayed to God. I didn't want to be mad. It was so powerful. And it went on for about 3 hours, and then all of a sudden it was gone. And all of a sudden I had more enthusiasm for life. I didn't know that I didn't have that strong a will to live, but when you have anger or these negative emotions, they actually take up space.
Yeah.
They take up space, and when you have that, then you can't bring in joy and happiness. So when you're harboring anything, any negative emotion, it takes away your own joy. You're not hurting anybody else but yourself.
I remember I went, actually it was that Trinity Episcopal Church by the sea.
By the sea, yeah.
Yeah, and the minister gave a sermon, and he said, you know, and I know this is very common, but resentment is like taking poison and thinking it's going to harm your enemy.
Yeah.
It's and not that, you know, we don't all have it, but it's just something that's just so not productive.
Yeah, and so if you can look at every person, and when they're doing something that you don't like, oh, it's God. What is He teaching me? What am I learning from this? If you do it instead of, oh, they're doing it to me, and say, what am I to learn from this experience? It's easier, you know, and then to get through it and to learn what you're supposed to learn.
Exactly. That it's all lessons. Like
Yes,
our whole life is here for us as a way to learn things, and we can learn them in a kind of. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So children, if you look at children, they're like, you know, so excited, and they see you, and they're like, all friendly and open. And so kind of like what you were saying, that our natural essence, our natural way is to be open and loving. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't have me in mind. I mean, that's, you know, kids go through that too, because I think it's their way of learning boundaries. But I think that's just so important. What you just said is that, you know, let's just say it's a cup, basically. And then if you have all this anger and fear and resentment, there's just this much room. And the more that you're just getting rid of the unnecessary things that aren't part of who we really are, then the natural thing
is joy.
Joy and love and excitement.
You don't have to try.
And enthusiasm.
It's there. It's just there automatically.
Exactly.
You can't stop it.
And that's back to, I talked before about education, and that's why I believe that we need more creativity in schools. We don't need more tests. I mean, I've said this numerous times. We don't, and it's not like forcing those teachers to teach and forcing those kids to learn. Kids want to learn. I mean, take a 2-year-old. You're always saying, stop, stop, stop. I mean, because they're naturally trying to learn. And teachers go into teaching, I think all of them go into it because they're excited about that. And so our goal should be to encourage teachers who can then turn around and encourage students.
Yes. Yeah, I found when my daughter was in kindergarten, and they used to send her home with all this homework. I'm going, well, it's more, and if she didn't want to do it, I didn't make her do it. If it wasn't fun, we didn't do it. And I felt like the most important thing to teach her was to enjoy learning.
Exactly.
And if you, in the beginning, if you make it miserable, then you're teaching them that learning is miserable. So I taught her that, and it worked, and she was very successful, and it has a career that she loves. And so it's really important not just to try to cram things down their throat, because what are you teaching them? You're teaching them that learning isn't a joy.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And especially these days, I mean, many of us, like I've had several careers, and if I have a new career, I just teach myself everything. And especially now that we have Google and the internet, if you want to learn anything about anything,
I know, it's amazing.
You can learn that, or you can call somebody who knows something. But anything on a kind of very material level plane, you can just type it in and there it is. So it's about learning what to look for. And learning how to put things together, put this together with this, and just learning not to be afraid of information, afraid of newness.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And how does intuition help you live your life in less fear?
Well, because basically, you know, after almost dying 3 times, I'm not afraid of death. And so there is, my intuition helps me because I can see where there's a lot of fear in the world, you know, and just especially now with the economy and everything. And so knowing that that's not my fear, and I don't have to match it, and I can be at my own vibration, and I don't have to be in fear, you know, because it's like contagious. People, and especially if, you're working that second chakra, and you walk in the room and you feel all that fear or whatever, and you can just think it's yours. That's you know, and just to find the separation from that. And
exactly.
And yeah.
And I just wanted to say one thing, and to me that's different, that there really is things that are happening in this world.
Right.
I mean, the economy really is not good, and it really is somebody's fault. In my opinion, it's the banks at the top. It's Wall Street. So it's a fine line. It's a very subtle thing, how to see what's happening, to not turn away, to not shy away, see what's happening, but not go into fear and anger, just go into, this is happening.
This is happening,
This is happening. This is real. This is what's happening.
And another thing is, when you start to fight and argue, it doesn't work.
Okay, so thank you so much.
Okay,
this has been awesome. I've totally loved having you here. So my sponsor is Three's Bar and Grill. That's at Kihei Kalama Villages. They're scrumptious. I've been going there quite a bit lately. And they have wonderful entertainment, lots of bands, pretty much almost every night. And I want to thank my crew. David James Heckman is the studio producer extraordinaire. And we've got a great crew. I'm sure the credits, John, Anthony, Linda came in at the snip at the last minute, Antonio. We've got a great crew. So thank you so much. Laura, for coming. Thank you for watching. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful to be with you here again. And please continue to watch Netra's News. There's going to be a lot of great shows happening. And stay tuned. Aloha.